Armen Levack, 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Greg Auman covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Tampa Bay Times. Greg, is Jameis Winston ready for this?
Yeah, I think as ready as a rookie can be. I mean, it's a lot to get thrust into. I think they feel good about Jameis being able to pick up the offense within a fairly complex offense at Florida State. So I think they feel like he's as well prepared as a rookie can be, but it's still a big jump to make.
What is a successful season for Jameis Winston? Like, what does he have to do for Lovey and everybody to feel like he did a great job?
Well, obviously, it starts with getting the team to win in a way they haven't, at least the last 2 years. So, that's ultimately how he'll be judged. But from a stats standpoint, you hear a lot about over-unders on touchdowns and interceptions. And I think if he can get himself even up to, 25 touchdowns, have fewer interceptions than that, kind of keep the interceptions maybe to 20 or less, I think that's probably a good benchmark for what would constitute a strong rookie season, kind of a step in the right direction.
Yeah, seems like realistic expectations. Greg, off the field, are the Buccaneers keeping an eye on this guy? Do they treat him differently? Do they have anybody with him at all times? Anything like that?
No, I think it's one of those where they said if they felt like they had to do that, they wouldn't have drafted him. So obviously there's some concerns about immaturity issues, some bad decisions he made in college. I think they feel like that's all it is, that he's not a bad person, just somebody that has some maturity issues in college. And since he's been drafted, we're talking about maybe 4 months here, but hasn't really done anything wrong, has said the right things, has been very active in terms of staying after practice, signing autographs for fans, being involved in some of the community things they do. So since they've had him on board, I think he's done the right things. But, I'm sure they're aware of what he's doing. They don't have anybody attached to him 24/7 or anything like that. But I think you try and keep track of your important players, and he'll certainly get more scrutiny than most would.
We expect sophomore Michael Evans to continue his stride towards all-pro caliber play. Who else on that offense besides Evans and Winston should we be keeping an eye on?
Another big target in Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who was a rookie last year, kind of had a quiet rookie year, was kind of hurt and didn't that much of the year. He's another 6'5" guy, so that's another big target for Winston. Vincent Jackson's an older guy, a veteran, but certainly can do better than what he did last year with only 2 touchdowns. Those are probably his 3 biggest targets in the passing game. And then they got a bunch of rookies that could make a splash as receiver as well. They drafted 2 rookie receivers. They got 3 more in camp, so there'll probably be other rookies around him as well. And then they've got 2 rookies potentially starting on the offensive line. So, it'll be a young offense for sure.
Greg Auman of the Tampa Bay Times with Armen Levack on 104.5 The Team, beat writer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at Greg Auman on Twitter. Who's the starting running back for this team, Greg?
It's probably Doug Martin. I think he'll get challenged by a second-year back named Charles Sims. But Doug's looked good. He's been hurt the last 2 years, hasn't performed nearly at the same level as he did as a rookie back in 2012. But they like him. They've kind of said he'll be the lead guy. Charles Sims, I think the guy is a good pass-catching back and will help him, especially on 3rd down. But I think Doug will have a chance to kind of be the primary ball carrier. But I think they will split things up and use a couple backs here and there.
Greg, Lovie Smith teams usually known for their defense, and here we are. We're finally getting to a defensive question. What do you expect from this defense this year?
I think it'll be much improved. You think about Lovie Smith defenses being sparked by turnovers and takeaways. They really weren't last year. That wasn't a strength of his team. So it's going to start with them wanting to take the ball away from opponents. They had 3 forced fumbles in Saturday's preseason opener. He was very happy about that. Brought in some guys that are familiar in his defense, not necessarily huge names, but guys like Henry Melton and Bruce Carter, Sterling Moore, guys that have played in this defense know the scheme. Familiarity, especially just having the guys from last year in their second year in this defense, should help them execute things much better than they did last year.
Greg, it's not difficult to be much better than last year at 2-14 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They will be better this year, do you believe?
Yeah. Oh, no. Like you said, there's plenty of room for improvement. How much better is kind of the big question. That there's, folks that want them to be competitive here in the NFC South, just as it's a division that, 7 wins won the division last year. I think 6 or 7 wins is kind of a reasonable expectation for what would constitute success in a rookie quarterback's first season. But hard to know how good they'll be. They were 1-8 in games decided by 1 touchdown or less last year. So if they just get, half of those games back, that's a big step toward that already.
Greg Auman of the Tampa Bay Times, at Greg Auman on Twitter. Greg, thanks for your time today, man. Appreciate you.
You guys take care.